Until that one says live.
Are we good? Yeah. We're good. Hey guys, what's up? It's Brittany and Marcia here.
Hey.
We are live with another episode, actually a special episode of Coffee with MP
you should
today.
Grab your phone so you can share.
We are. Do you want to grab my phone for me, Lauren? Thank you. We are live right now talking to currently professional mixed martial artist and co-founder of Midwest Performance, Marcia the Black Widow Allen. So Marcia, instead of being on the interviewing side of this episode, she is actually on the questioning side of the episode, and this is a special episode because Marcia does have a bout coming up at Invicta FC 29 in Kansas City on May 4th. So in 2 weeks she will make her comeback return to the octagon, and we're excited to have you, Marcia.
This is so weird being on the other side. Go ahead and invite people on to make sure. I just like being able to interview other people is always easier than actually being the interviewee.
This is true.
Flipping scripts is like, wow. But when I hear the ladies like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. It's like, now I see how you feel. It's like, I only pooped 4 times this morning, so I'm just keeping it real.
We're just keeping it real. We're keeping it real yes. today. So while we wait for some of you guys to get tuned in, I know this has been a very much anticipated episode, and I'm excited for this, you guys. I'm super excited to talk to Marcia. If you guys know Marcia in person, she's a super positive person. She always has really an amazing mindset, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. We're going to talk a lot about mindset. We're going to talk a lot about positivity, abundance, and all that good fun stuff. So if you're just tuning in, again, we're here live with professional mixed martial artist and MP co-founder Marcia, and we're going to wait just a couple more seconds as I get more people tuned in here. I really want to make sure that you guys are just buckled in for this, because it's going to be quite the ride for the next 20 to 30 minutes. So with that being said, I think we're doing a good job inviting people here. Cool. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just dive right in. So we're going to start off with Marcia, why don't you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about you and how you got started with MMA, and how that kind of the Black Widow kind of came to be.
Yeah, so we're going to go way back. So for a lot of people that do not know, prior to me becoming a part of the fitness industry, I'm a double major, and I worked a corporate job, and I traveled all over the world, 49 out of 50 states, 7 countries, and I was, I'm going to actually say, I was fucking miserable.
We'll bleep that out on the podcast.
It wasn't my true passion in life, and I knew that. You know, people would be honored to be able to travel across the world and do some of the things and see some of the things that I did, but I just knew that that wasn't what I was sought out to do in life in general. Long story short, back when the economy hit bad back in 2009, I was with that company for 5 years and I got laid off.
Crazy.
And
it happens a lot, by the way. It happens a lot. It doesn't really matter how long you've been somewhere.
For sure. Things happen for a reason, and that's when MMA came about. And I hope my good friend that's actually watching right now, Travis, shout out to Travis, he actually introduced me to MMA. It was crazy because he's like, hey, I want you to come to my fight.
Where were you living at the time?
Yeah, South Dakota. Good question. So I was there in South Dakota, and I'm like, sure, I'm going to support my boy. I'm going to go watch him fight, and that's what I did. Little behold, I had no clue what it was. It was a freaking cage, an octagon, and I'm like, this shit is crazy. Like, my adrenaline was rushing. I'm like, it was insane. And here's why I say this, is because being an athlete, and I played college basketball, full ride scholarship. After that, and once I went into the professional world, the corporate world, I didn't have any means of competing anymore, right? So when I saw this, I'm like, man, this is crazy. I want to try to do this. So after his bout was over, he won, by the way. I said, man, I want to try to do what you're doing. So he's like, join me on Monday. Let's hit the gym. I hit the gym. And since then, 2009, I have been addicted to MMA since. So that's how I started.
So about 9 years ago, you started with just a passion as an athlete to compete. And I think that that's what's important, is as an athlete, no matter how long away you are from when you started your career, you always kind of have that competitive edge. Yeah. And I think that that's also what's keeping you so driven to go back. in the last couple of years is you've always really had that itch to like, I need to go back, I got to go back, because as an athlete, you just naturally have that in you to just want to go back. So that was 2009. We're in 2018. How many fights have you had since you started amateur and pro?
Yeah, so as an AMI, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9, 10 fights as an AMI, and then as a pro, 8, going on 9, May 4th. Awesome. So in total, about 20. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So very, very well-rounded MMA, mixed martial artist as a professional. And a couple of your wins have been pretty amazing. Some of your losses have been too, right? And I think that that's important that, you know, while we go through this next 15 or 20 minutes talking about this, that your career hasn't always been perfect, and it always hasn't been, there's been obstacles, and there's been things that have come in your way, and now I think we're going to dive into that a little bit now. So with that being said, my next question for you is, what are some of the toughest moments you've had as an athlete, and how have you been able to overcome those?
Good question. So just to let you guys know, these questions are well prepped. So when I was asked this question a couple days ago, I was like, damn, this is actually a really tough question. So I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. This was a broad question for me. So I kind of narrowed it down to 2. And I think back to some of my fights, one of which I broke my hand in a fight, and another one I lost. I lost 2, actually. I'm not perfect by any means. I'm human. And I think back to those times when I broke my hand and I was out for 3 months, and when I lost the fight. What's crazy is that I learned to overcome adversity, because most people who fail have a hard time with bouncing back.
This is true.
So for me, it was truly a mindset, and I knew that when shit gets hard, that's when it's time to step up. And I'm trying to relate this to the audience that's watching. So if you've ever had any issues when you're out of the gym due to, you know, family issues at home, or you're injured, you see people, once they actually stop, it's a hard time for them to actually bounce back, right? And for me, I see that as a setback, as a setup to come back. So just keep in mind that don't let one bump in the road like stop you. That's the time to step up and to overcome that adversity.
And I think that the testament to that, and to kind of add to that, is that, you know, even making this comeback for you hasn't been easy, because as you all know, we've spent the last 2 years growing and building Midwest Performance, and it's still growing today. And if any of you know Marcia, she's super passionate about anything that she does, and she's very passionate about this business, but she's also very passionate about MMA. So this comeback and getting back into training wasn't a flip of a switch for her either. It was very much a very mental battle as much as it was physical, but her mindset and her positivity and her knowing that she just has to get back in and do it is what led you to kind of make this comeback. So I think that is a testament and can be relatable to the people in our audience, is that, you know, no matter what happens, no matter what kind of setbacks that you have in your fitness and wellness journey, or wherever you're at in life, you're always going to want to make sure that you tell yourself, I just got to do it. I just got to get back in it. I just got to get started, because once I'm started, then the ball's rolling down the hill.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I think that's great. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. I know that's not easy, but I think it's important for people to know that even on the platform that you're on, you still have struggles.
For sure.
So the next question we're going to lead into here is, we're going to start talking a little bit about mindset, because I think that this is, if you know Marcia, she loves everything mindset. She's all about positivity. So what does it mean to you, Marcia, to have a positive mindset?
I'm super excited about this question, and here's why. Like, I took some major
props.
notes. Yeah, I brought objects and
She brought
props.
objects.
So we're about to dive right into it, and we're keeping it real today. And to be perfectly honest with you, I wanted to make sure that I didn't leave anything out, so I actually took notes for this one. And I'm going to start out by giving you a metaphor. You train your brain like you train your muscles. And I'm going to dive a little bit deeper in what I mean by that. Is that when you come in here and you're training to tone your muscles and to gain strength, right? it's all based on repetition, right? And you have to apply that the same way you do your brain, right? You're just not going to come into any sort of scenario and plan to get exceptional change or significant change and or result. So your thoughts or your reality. So you may ask yourself, how would you train your brain? So the same way you train your muscles, whatever you put into your body, that's kind of the results you're going to get out of it. And the same way with your brain, whatever thoughts you have in your brain is the same way, that's going to become your reality. Here's what I mean by that. So you have to, this is what you have to do.
Guys, she's got lots of notes.
Right, I'm keeping it real. And this is what I do. Number one, you have to have a daily ritual. Right here, what I have is my daily ritual, and I have my goals and blessings, okay? We're going to dive a little bit deeper, and this is how I train my brain. Your goals and blessings, and here's why I say this. For 80% of people do not reach their goals because they do not write them down, right? And I've been a testament to this for the past 5 years of writing every single goal and every single blessing down. Okay, so this binder right here is years of goals that I write down every single day. And what's crazy is that when I look back in this binder from years ago, I cry. I cry because those goals that I thought that I sought out for, I thought I would never accomplish, and I look back and I actually accomplished them. Right? So keep in mind, and it's so true, this isn't me saying this, this is based on statistics showing 80% of people will not reach their goals if they're not written down. So that's the first thing that I do every single day. I write my goals down. Okay? So that's the first one. Number two is devotions. Now, again, it's like this is how I train my brain. The first thing that I do, and this is my ritual, as soon as I wake up in the morning, I have this guide. This is actually, shout out to Joel Osteen, Your Best Life, right? Every single day, as soon as I wake up in the morning, this is the first thing that I pick up. Most people, the first thing they pick up is maybe their cell phone, right? And they read a lot of verbiage that is irrelevant, right? This is what gives me positivity. And why I say this is that 80% of people, this is a UCLA study shows that have 80,000 thoughts per day, and 80% of those thoughts are negative. So for me, this is all positivity. And what's crazy is this, something resonated with me with a devotion today. And I'm actually going to read it, and I'm hoping that it would be able to touch at least one person. It's crazy. So regardless if you believe in Buddha or God or whoever it is, I'm all about faith, and I have to share this with you guys. It's super crazy. So, all right, so not going to bore you. It's really quick and simple. So today was all about, let's see, something greater. And it says, when first called by Jesus, Simon was presumptuous, opinionated, hot-headed, and self-centered. Not to mention, he sometimes used profane language. Why did God choose him? Because God looks at the heart. Man looks on the outside, but God looks deep down into a person and sees what a person can become. In changing his name to Peter, Jesus meant, when I get through with you, you're going to be something much greater. In the same way, God has put more in you than you can even imagine. You have gifts and talents that nobody else has. God has planted seeds of greatness in you. Why don't you quit looking at what you can't do and start looking at what God can do for you? It's not where you are that matters. It's where God can take you. When I read that this morning, like I said, it really resonated with me. That's what I mean by training your brain. That gave me that little fire under my ass and gave me motivation, right? So that's number two, what I do, right?
I'm not stopping her. I'm just going to let her keep going. So if you guys, I'm just kind of sitting here nodding. It's not that I'm not interested. She's very, if you haven't noticed this by now, Marcia is very passionate about her faith. She's passionate about training her brain. She's passionate about always having positive vibes around her. She's very much in tune with you are the equivalent of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And we truly believe that in any, relevating or being in correlation with health and fitness and your journey, you have to make sure that whenever you're on this journey, because it does get tough.
It does.
And there are times where you don't want to get out of bed and go to class, and you don't want to eat that healthy meal. We're going to talk about that. But with this kind of stuff, having positive, whatever you want to make your ritual to be every morning you get out of bed, it's the second you put your feet on the ground, those are the most important moments of your entire day. What you do when you wake up and how you start your day is the most important part of your whole life. If you wake up dreading Mondays, then you've got to change something. Yeah. So keep going. I think you got other stuff.
So again, we're going back to training brain. So the first one that I do my goals and blessings, right? And I said that 80% of people don't reach their goals because they don't write them down. So that's the first thing that I do. Second thing that I do is I do my devotion every day. Like I read to you what today's devotion was, and it really resonated with me because I know not only within myself but within you guys, there's so much greater than what you can possibly imagine. So having that faith matters, right? And then number 3, and how I train my brain every single day, I take that back, every other day. I do yoga 3 times a day, hot yoga, and I meditate. At the beginning of class, we always start in some sort of position, and the instructor likes to read a quote of some sort, and I take that time to just put my thoughts into reality. Like what is it positive? What is it that I want to think about today that's going to bring a good outlook and positivity? So those are my 3 ways that I train my brain, right, into creating the mindset of abundance. And I promise you, like I said, looking back at those goals that I've written down years ago and crying and seeing them come to reality, it's real. It can happen. You just got to, like I said, the way you train your muscles is the same way you have to train your brain, and it has to do with consistency.
Yeah. And I think with the goals and blessings, that's something that I never did, and I haven't been the best at it. I will admit that. I haven't been, but I know that it's important, and having Marcia to remind me that I need to write my goals down. But at the same time, it doesn't, like, she just got a binder with some notebook paper in it. It's not like it's some special, like, goals and blessings book that she went and bought. She just got a binder, put some notebook paper in it, she writes in it every single day. So I think that that's great. I want to move on to the next question so that if we do have any questions, we can get to that before we get too little time left. My next question for you is more of from an athlete perspective. How are you able to keep a mindset of abundance and a positive mindset as a pro athlete, and how does that correlate into your training and then in competition?
Good question. So this was another tough question. And by the way, Brittany came up with these questions. So I really had to
I check her a little bit.
You did, but here's the biggest thing, and this isn't just related to me. This is for each and every one of you that is watching. Is starting out with finding your why. Why do you do what you do, right? Because again, when shit gets hard and you feel like quitting, you have to think about why you started. And for me, my why, and I'll share with you, my why is I want to leave a legacy. I want to set up my future family, I want to leave Midwest Performance and all this stuff for them. This is my why, and I know when I have those days, and I'm keeping it real. Was it a week or two ago? I didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't feel like getting out of bed, and I cried. I'm like, babe, I'm struggling today. I can't do it. This is hard. I'm tired. I'm sore. I just want to lay in bed. But then again, it's like, let's just pray. Let's just, going back to your why are you doing what you're doing? And for me, again, it's like you have to find your why. When you feel like giving up, when things are getting hard, when you don't feel like coming to the gym, you have to figure out, why did you begin in the first place? And always go back to that why.
And I think that that's kind of a testament to why you're able to be so successful as a professional athlete, because it's in those moments of vulnerability and in those moments of almost weakness that you find your strength. And then you find your strength when you are in competition and you get in that octagon and the door closes, and you know that you have your faith, you know that you have your support, you know that you have your positive mindset for a positive outcome, and there's no negativity surrounding you at any time, at any place. Right. Even when you're in your lowest of lows, it's that reminder of like, no, like, why am I doing this? Right. Why am I putting myself in these positions? Because I want to leave that legacy. So I think that that's amazing. I think that that's great. I know that about you, so it's something that you guys are just learning. But if you are surrounded by this amazing woman every single day, you would live your best life because of her her aura. The aura that she always has around her is always positive. She refuses to have anybody negative around her, and I think that that's a testament to your success. So the last question I'm going to ask you before we get to any questions from the audience is this, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, I think, with that, but we can kind of review it, and if there's anything else you want to add, we can add. But what are your top 3 tips to overcome obstacles and have a mindset of abundance?
So I'm literally going to just kind of wrap things up, explaining what I did to begin with, and I jotted them down. Is you have to find out or figure out what is your why. Again, it's going back to that why. That's the most important thing throughout your journey in life, is why are you doing the things that you do, you know? Finding what you're truly passionate about and just sticking to it, right? There's a lot of people that, you know, regardless of what it is, don't like what they do for an occupation, or don't, whatever the case may be, right? It's just, what is it that you're truly passionate about, and go with it, roll with it. What is the why, right? I don't want to get off topic.
You're fine.
And then number 2, write down the daily goals. Like I said, 80% of people will not reach their goals. And this is a true UCLA study. If they don't, write them down. So writing down your goals. And to be honest with you, I write my goals down, not just in here. It's like, it's a constant reminder. It's in my car on my dashboard. I have markers like on the mirrors in the bathroom when I'm brushing my teeth. All my goals are there. So it's like, I don't care where you are. Put it on your refrigerator. If it's a model.
I'm going to give you a tour of our house in our car some days, because this is legitimate. Like, we cleaned the bathroom yesterday, and they were like, we only cleaned half of your mirror because we didn't want to clean the goals off. And we're like, that's fine. So it's like, it's like legitimately true.
If it's like an image of a picture in a magazine of a girl's butt or abs or something that you want, put it on your refrigerator, put it in your car, wherever you could see it every day. It's in my car. It's in my bathroom mirror. I write it down. So that's number 2 is writing them down. And again, like I said, train your brain. And how would you train your brain? Is it meditation for you? Is it doing a devotion, which is what I do here? So you have to train your brain like you train your muscle, right? And the way you train your muscles is putting in good things into your body, and the same way you want to do with your mind, putting good positive things into your mind, if that's meditation or yoga, whatever the case may be. So those are my 3 things.
Cool. Okay, so wrapping I want to kind of bring this full circle, because at the end of the day, this is you can really relate this to a health and fitness journey. All of the things that we talked about, having tough moments and overcoming those with, just being positive and understanding, and you have to almost give yourself a little bit of forgiveness to feel the way that you're going to feel on those days when you don't want to train, or you don't want to eat healthy, or you don't want to go to practice, or you don't want to go to the gym. You have to give yourself a little bit of forgiveness in those moments and allow yourself to be a human, but also know that you're bettering yourself, you're making yourself better, and you're becoming a better human. And then we talked a little bit about the positive mindset and how you do that with your devotions and with your goals and blessings and finding your why. You can all do that yourselves. You can all have a goals and blessings book. You can all have a devotion or something, or a meditation, or a prayer, or just like positive thoughts that you spew out to yourself. Maybe you wake up every single day, look in the mirror, and tell yourself 3 positive things about you. Whatever that is, you're going to have that. And then find your why. Your why could be for your family, it could be for you, it could be for, your future job, or the business that you want to start, or the body that you want to have, or the competition that you want to be in. Like, you just got to really find your own personal why and figure out what that is.
I agree.
And then as an athlete, if we do have any athletes watching this, or anybody that is going to hear this, just know that training isn't the fun part. Some people love training, and Marcia always tells me, if you ask any MMA fighter, they all hate training camp, but they love the fight. But the training camp is where the magic happens. It's where the work gets put in behind the scenes. If you know anything about Marcia, she's a super personal person, and if you don't see a lot of her posting on social media and talking about her opponents and like just being kind of all in the buzz, because she's super in her own head and in her own mindset, and just kind of laying low, because like she says, whatever happens in the dark will come to light. So, and that's kind of how she works. So the last thing is any advice. Yeah, any advice that you want. I was just trying to recap, because this is like, I'm like, my brain's like exploding. It was like that emoji that's got the mind blown.
The only thing that I have is, whenever you have a setback, instead of saying, why me, tell yourself, try me. Right? It's one of those things you have to be able to revert.
I like that.
Yes, revert.
Can we quote that?
Heck yeah, revert the bad and make it the good. So never see it as overcoming the adversity, right? So never see that as a setback. It's like, God, oh my God, why does this have to happen to me? And I can't do this anymore. It's like, no, try me. That's where I like to shine. It's like, come on, okay, I got you. Let's do this. We're gonna do it. So again, not why me, try me.
Perfect. With that being said, guys, do we have any questions? I know we're on a couple different places here. If you're listening to this on podcast, if you are watching this on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, leave us some comments in the comment section. Oh, we got Ella.
Yeah,
Ella had to make she had to kind of photobomb our video here. But if you guys are watching this and you've never heard of Midwest Performance or what we do here, check us out on MidwestPerform.com. You can find us on Facebook at Midwest Performance. You can find Marcia on Instagram at Marcia Allen. You can find her on Facebook as at Marcia Allen. She's on Twitter, LinkedIn. You can find her at Marcia Allen on all platforms. She will be back in the octagon in 2 weeks, you guys. So send her lots of support, send her lots of loves, lots of well wishes. We do have a question, a couple of different questions here. Amy Clark says, what devotional book do you use? She actually has it right here.
Yeah, good question.
Sorry, Ella's chewing on her microphone, so she's got to not have her microphone.
That's
so
okay.
I'll hold it up. Can you see this? Can we see this? It's kind of hard to see because of the glare. Ooh, I'll tip it down a little bit.
So I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. So every year I get a new devotion book, but I bought this one last year and it was so good.
She's reading it again.
That I'm reading it again. Honestly, this has made many changes to my mindset. And for those of you that don't know who this man is, he's a pastor out of... go ahead, is it?
Lakewood Church.
Thank you. Lakewood Church. In Houston, Texas. Joel Osteen, very popular pastor, but this is your best life begins each morning. And like I said, I read this every morning. First thing I do, the side of my nightstand is read this. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So that was that, and we find at Barnes and Nobles. If you go to the devotional area in Barnes and Nobles, they have a lot of really great ones. They have some just like women only ones, which are great. She's had before. So good question, Amy. Sarah Bullen says, do you write down long-term and short-term goals?
That's a very good question.
That was a really good question.
Actually, I do both. So I do my 5 long-term goals. As a part of my goals and blessings every day. So I do 10 goals every day, 10 goals. And 5 of them are short term and 5 of them are long term. So that's a really good question. So I always think not what I can do right now, but also what I can do to set myself up for success in the future.
Right.
So I don't care. I could share a couple of them with you. So I did my goals and blessings today. And some of you guys know in regards to Midwest Performance, this is something that we're creating not only just one location, but multiple locations. So that's one of my long-term goals, right? So just to give you guys an example, and it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. So just short-term and long-term. So yeah, good question.
Good. Mo. Hey, Mo, what's up? Mo first says, May 4th, can't wait to be there. And then she says, how long do you train for each fight?
So fight camps typically are normally like 8 to 12 weeks. This was more of a short notice fight for me.
5 weeks.
So I've been doing 5-6 weeks. Yeah, something around that nature. But every day I train 3 times a day. It just depends on the day. To be perfectly honest with you, for me, recovery is more important this time than the actual training camp.
Yes, amen.
So outside of doing the MMA training and strength and conditioning and hot yoga and all that, I also do the massages and the chiropractor because, again, I'm not going to be able to perform to my fullest potential if I don't take care of my body. So again, recovery is key.
Yes, very good. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? I don't think I see any. All right, so again, Marcia, the Black Widow Allen, will be in the Invicta FC cage on May 4th in Kansas City at the Scottish Rite Temple. You can watch it live on UFC Fight Pass. You can be there live too. Hit us up for tickets if you're interested in making the road trip down to Kansas City for that, not this Friday, but the next Friday. So with that being said, ladies, lots of hearts. Look at all the hearts. Hearts. We love hearts. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It has been a pleasure speaking with all of you guys today. We will be live next week again for another Coffee with MP episode.
Take care, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.